Hi everyone, this is episode 307 of Meet the Farmers, and I'm your host, Ben Eagle. Now, before we start, I'm going to give a shameless plug to our Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon pages. I am trying to make a real effort at the moment to invest into the show, to improve the content for you guys. Every episode takes several hours to make, and we've also got rising costs for hosting the show, and that's all increasing. I'm really grateful to occasional sponsors that we get for episodes, but it would be great also to have some help from you, the listeners. So if you appreciate what we're doing with the podcast, if you're a regular listener, you might be a long-standing listener, and you can help at all, please go to buymeacoffee.com/Meet the Farmers or patreon.com/Meet the Farmers. And anything you give will be invested back into the show to help us bring more farming stories to a wider group of people. Thank you so much in advance, and I put those details in the show notes. Right, that's the shameless self-advertising over. Let's introduce today's guest. We're in Western Victoria in Australia today to meet Tara from Tara's Farm. Tara is a third-generation sheep and mixed crop farmer working alongside her family on their 4,000-acre farm. From running Australian white and prime line sheep, we'll hear more about those today, to looking at soil health technology as well. She's deeply committed to the future of her family's land. She's also heavily active on Instagram and YouTube, where she shares her realities of agriculture, the good and the difficult, with her followers. So today we're going to talk about Tara's journey into farming, the opportunities and challenges of farming in Australia at the moment, especially when it comes to drought, and also Tara's ambitions for the future. Tara, welcome to Meet the Farmers. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a joy. Can you tell us by giving us a bit of context about where you are, so about Western Victoria, the landscape?
Victoria is very different depending on where you are. I'm very careful about sharing my location because of creepers. So, we're in a region where sheep work, lots of sheep and mixed crops, pretty much. Cattle don't do very well here.
Very dry, I'm guessing, as well. Not much rainfall.
At the moment, yeah, we've been in a drought since last year. We had half our annual rainfall last year, and we're looking like we're going to be at a similar sort of amount this year at the moment, unless we get a wet spring. So it's been pretty shit, pretty much for the last year and a half. It's been pretty good here.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk more about that later. But I mean, going back and sort of about your early life, you grew up on the farm. So just tell us a little bit about that experience, and I suppose when you knew that a farming life was the one that you wanted to pursue, because I think from research you have a sister who didn't go down to the farming line.
Yeah, so I've been on the farm. I grew up on the farm, and then we moved into town more because the school's like, mum and dad didn't want us going to a school where there was like 6 kids, which, fair enough. It can be a bit hard when there's only 6 kids in the entire school. So we moved closer into town, and then, farming became less like that. That's what Dad did. It was actually used as a punishment and a threat from Mum if we don't behave at the school holidays. We had to go out and help Dad on the farm.
That
and
sounds
basically
familiar.
We'd go out and be gate bitch pretty much. That'd be what we'd do. Or Dad would make us walk the sheep back on foot. I actually wasn't intending to be a farmer. Dad didn't want me to be a farmer. But I left when I finished school. I really didn't have anything to do, and I'm like, well, guess what? I'm here now.
No, I mean, tell us a little bit about the history of the place. Says when your family first came to that bit of land.
In the 50s, we first got it. So my dad's mum and her dad, so what's that, great grandfather, him and Dad's dad, my grandpa, bought it together, and
Okay.
they bought a fair. It was sold a lot. We're like not even much of what we used to be farm wise. Dad said he used to run 20,000 sheep, which is a lot for Victoria in our area. We're not anywhere near that anymore.
Talking of sheep, let's go on to those. You've got Prime Lines and Aussie Whites. Tell us a little bit about those breeds, because many listeners, especially those from the UK, may not come across them. What's the appeal? Yeah, tell us a bit about them.
Yeah, so you wouldn't see them in the UK. Um, Australian, we mostly run prime lines. Australian whites are my little side project. The prime lines are a composite breed in Australia. They're very maternal view. They're like everything in Australia. They're bred tough. We were over in Ireland earlier this year, and they were showing us all the lowland sheep and how much they're all babied over there. Like out here, they're left in the paddock, and it's fend for yourself, mate. Over in the UK, if they get a sore little foot, it's vet out, all hands on deck. It's not profitable to do that here. So, the sheep have evolved here to be tough, and these sort of, every sheep's got breed's got a problem. The prime lines, when they're speed, they get too fat, and you get a lot of, I call it turtling, which is, casting, sheep getting cast and that sort of stuff. But like, they grow quick. They grow like thick, so they've got a lot of meat on them. If you've got optimal conditions, they should be ready in 4 months. So that's your appeal of the prime lines. The appeal of the Australian whites is, the reason I chose them is they shed and they've got hair like a cow. So I don't have to crutch them. I don't have to shear them. I don't have to tail them. Life is easy. I haven't seen it personally, but apparently a lot of the studs, they don't see lice in them because the lice have trouble actually getting on, staying on them.
Okay.
Like they can't breed and cycle on them because it doesn't stick to their hair properly. The only problem I found with the whites is feet. They're hard because they've been crossed with Dorpers, so the feet are pretty garbage on some of them. I don't like doing feet. So anything with bad feet in your bigger mobs, we cull it.
Tell us a bit about the pellet wool project that I read a bit about. What's that?
Wool really has no. It's starting to have less. Like in the UK, you're used to it. Your wool's worth nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's here. It has value, but now it doesn't really. So I want to encourage the use of wool, and I found a girl that's in Victoria as well, and I give her my pet sheep's wool, and she turns them into wool pellets, which is 100% wool, and you put them out on your garden, and it's like a slow release nitrogen fertilizer, and it can deter slugs and stuff because slugs don't like wool. It's a good way to use a product that otherwise worth nothing.
Yeah, no, great. Have you seen that used with other people and many other people doing that?
No, I don't think anyone else or very few people are doing it in Victoria. I think I just really got lucky that she's in Victoria pretty much.
Yeah, helps to have these people down the line.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's talk a bit about the cropping, which your partner Liam does. So yeah, I'm interested in how you divide those responsibilities between you. Do you help each other out at all, or is there a strict line? You're on the sheep, he's on the crops.
Yeah, so Dad's actually above the line. It's like a pyramid scheme, right? It's not an actual pyramid scheme for legal reasons. But Dad kind of divvied out what everyone does. Liam's very interested in cropping, so he naturally does all that sort of stuff. During the busy years, during harvest and that sort of stuff, it's, we delegate more people to, well, someone's driving the header, someone's taking the truck, the grain to the facilities and wherever it needs to go. Someone's running field bins in and out and that sort of stuff. Um, it's that sort of stuff. And then when it's sheep and the sheep are busy, then Liam has to do the sheep, even though he doesn't like doing the sheep.
I say, anyone who doesn't keep sheep, it's never first on the list. I think to help out.
No.
Before we go on to just a bit on tech actually. Are you sort of big on your sort of tech or data, or are you more sort of? I mean, you've hinted at sort of just let it be and see what it does. Are you monitoring anything at all?
Tech, I am. I like data. Data makes good decisions.
Yeah.
Dad bit less into it because we use a couple of apps. We use Mobile to track everything that livestock management up in Australia. I don't know if other countries have it,
Okay.
but it's you can track your sheep drenches, everything that's what's in your paddocks, that sort of stuff. But then recently, for my mob specifically, I got Birdwatch, which
Yep.
needs a big adaptation for Australian farms because it's too much. Like I need to be able to turn some features off like this painting on the sheep shit. Like we don't do that here. But I found that quite useful if it's implemented. Like I need to be out there when the sheep gives birth and weigh the lamb and then
Okay.
tag the lamb and that, which, on a bigger scale, it's not going to work. But for my 50 sheep, it works. And I can get good data on that and I can make good decisions when it does come time to cull. I can go, well, you missed 2 lambs, gone. And then, yeah.
What about challenges? And then we're sort of zooming out for this bit in terms of looking at Australian farming in general. In general, so from your perspective, what are the biggest challenges from your point of view about farming in Australia right now?
The drought, probably. Weather is hard in Australia, as it is everywhere, but Australia tends to take it to different extremes. This year, we've had up north, they had so much, they literally flooded and thousands and tens of thousands of cattle were lost. And we've had half our annual rainfall. So you've got 2 extremes happening at the same time in different points of the country. It's weather's it's hard to grow stuff when you've got no rain.
Yeah.
And all too much rain. So weather's really hard. I saw at the moment there's actually a locust plague going through Queensland at the moment. So I don't know how far they're going to get, but those farmers up there will want to get their crops off soon, which then is going to impact your prices on your commodities. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. We also per head, we get less per sheep than over in the UK or even the US or Canada. Sometimes you guys get the price is a bit at the moment, but regularly you guys get double what we get for our sheep. So that's well we get, I don't know what the British pound conversion, but we're going to roughly get $190 Australian for a lamb that's going to dress out to about somewhere between 20 and 25 kilo.
Yeah, so for British,
are you converting that?
Just got the conversion. Yeah, so 190 Aussie dollars is just under 91 quid, 91 pounds sterling. Which really puts that in perspective.
Yeah, so there you can see why farmers cull and let sheep survive. Because if we had them in barns, the farms here are a lot bigger than the UK farms. I'm pretty sure UK farms are. From what I've been to, they've got 1,000 sheep, whereas we've got 4 or 3, but somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 ewes at the moment. And that's half capacity.
Yeah. And obviously in Australia, you're talking scale. You're talking a very different kind of production model, and that's what all makes sense as a result. But what sort of keeps you going as a result? What gives you optimism for the future farming where you are?
I don't challenge. It's hard. That's what makes it. It's like a game. You know what I mean? If you've got this problem now you've got to solve it, or you lose everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit warped. But like it's a game. Whereas, you know, this is what you've got. You've got to make the best out of what you've got. How do you do it? And then I enjoy the challenge of working out, well, this is how I get from point A to point B. Like something I'm doing this year is actually going to put the Aussie white lambs in meat boxes. So my audience is going to be able to buy my lamb,
Amazing.
which I will get closer to UK prices. Still not UK prices, but closer.
That said, you have built a pretty hefty following on YouTube, also on Instagram. When did you start actually sharing what you're doing online? Start your channel?
The farm stuff I started sharing, I think we're in the third year now. So I've been showing the farm stuff for 3 or 2.5 years. People really like seeing the reality of it. I think farming's an industry where you only get to see the bad side from the people that want you to see the bad side. You don't actually get to pull back the curtain and say, well, it's not. That's not what happened. That's what people who want you to donate to their cause wants you to think happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my perspective on that.
Yeah. And I mean, is your audience you mostly finding that it's, I'm guessing you attract some farmers as well, but are you finding it's mostly sort of non-farmers?
I reckon it's close to sort of 50-50 rural and city.
Yeah.
I do get city people that watch. I've got vegetarians and vegans that watch and like the content. But I get like, I've got I'd actually just opened the community tab thing on YouTube and someone posted there in South Africa and they've got sheep. And it's totally different. Again, like it's so interesting seeing how other countries do this essentially the same job, but it's totally different. Like even you guys, like you put your sheep in sheds in winter so they don't get cold.
Yeah. So in terms of where you're going in the future ambitions, you've outlined some of your plans, but where do you want to be? What's your sort of goal for future?
Good question. I don't have a specific thing. I want to be able to sell. Ideally, I could sell all the lambs at like direct to consumer. That's what I'd like to be able to do, but that's a lot of like in a proper year. That's a lot of lambs. That's
a lot of lambs.
It would be a lot of lambs. I don't know how you would manage to I don't even know how you do the logistics of taking. You have to take a truckload and find another side that can do 350 lambs at a time. Like that'd be an absolute nightmare. But that's what I would like to do. I'd like to get more out of what we're already producing and actually get some better money for it. Like Clarkson Farms, I watched one of your podcasts earlier and you mentioned it. And that's been a really that's what I want to do. Like watching him use his barley to make Hawkstone and all that sort of stuff. I think it's really beneficial. I'd also like to be able to become more of, keep sharing the whole, this is what it looks like, this. And I find that even people that watch me don't see the connect between these lambs that we produce end up in supermarkets because they all bash supermarket lambs, but they don't realise that it's our lamb that's getting bashed.
Yeah. Just quickly, you mentioned Clarkson's Farm. Has that had much sort of feedback coverage in Australia and sort of Aussie farmers sort of taken to it at all?
Dad doesn't like it because Dad's dad he's not a real farmer, he said. So he doesn't get the concept of he's showing it to help farmers. But I reckon he watched 3 minutes of the first episode and that was enough for Dad.
That's hilarious.
There's a lot of Australian farmers that are kind of stuck in the old ways, but a lot of young farmers have watched it and gone, we fuck with that.
Yeah. Right, we'll just finish with some quick questions. First is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given in farming?
Probably diversify. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. It makes it it's too much risk just having one thing. Like a lot of Australian farmers, they'll do sheep or they'll do cattle, and then they'll also do grain. So if
Yeah.
one market tanks, the other market's still there. I think that's probably one of the most important things you can do, and also looking like at diversifying, selling direct to consumer, like finding different ways to market your products that you're creating.
Cool. If you could change one thing about Australian agriculture tomorrow, what would it be?
Can I make it rain?
That's
That would be good.
probably
That's
true.
probably the biggest thing I'd change.
Yeah. Your favourite job on the farm and your least favourite?
Depends. I like the job that's coming up next that's what I like. The thing I like about farming is by the time you're sick of it, the next thing's starting. So like, I'm starting to get sick of lambing, and now we're about to start like baling and that sort of thing. So now I'm looking forward to baling. But I promise you, in 3 months after we've been baling, I'm going to be like, oh, harvest is going to be so good. And then we're going to harvest. And I can't wait to feed sheep.
That is such a typical farmer answer. And we'll move on to the final questions, which we ask everyone when they come on the show. The first is, if you had a message for the public, any message, what would it be?
Oh, what would I tell the public? I don't know. What would you tell? I say so much shit on my channel. I don't know what message I want to pick.
Out of all of those,
Out of all of them, yeah, I run my mouth too much. I don't know what my core message is.
Yeah, I should just say at this point, listeners, go and just go and watch Tara's farm, and then you'll see like loads of messages on there.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of messages. I think it's like probably similar thing for everyone is like, don't like, you're always going to have bad apples. It doesn't take the whole industry. I reckon that's my big message, because a lot of people come to me to hate me, but they've seen me for 5 seconds. They already know.
Then they change.
Yeah, no, well, no, but some of them don't. Some of them they see 5 seconds and they're like, I want her dead. Like it's insane. Some of these people.
Blimey. And moving swiftly on, your message to your fellow farmers all over the world.
Diversify. I'm sticking with that. Diversify. It's one of the most important things, especially if you farm. I know other countries, a lot of farmers don't farm full time, but diversify.
Yeah, brilliant. Good message to leave it on, I think. We'll leave it there. Tara from Tara's Farm, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great. Thank you also for listening or watching, any of you who are out there. If you don't already subscribe to the show, please hit that subscribe button and tell someone else you know about the show. You can follow us on Facebook or TikTok, as well as on Instagram now. We're slowly growing our presence on socials, so please give us a follow. Please also subscribe to us on YouTube. I have big plans for improving our channel in future, so please give us a subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Next time, we're going to be back in the UK, but it's going to have relevance for farmers everywhere. We're going to be talking about recruitment, which is a big topic, certainly here in the UK and elsewhere. But for now, I'm Ben Eagle. This has been Meet the Farmers, and thank you very much for listening.